welcome back. Hopefully you guys made it through the first two. So hopefully there will only be one more after this, and hopefully I'll be done. Um, Hopefully you guys aren't getting tired of me by this time. So we're up to the part pretty much of where I've told everybody. I've made a few phone calls to get a hold of everybody to say, hey, that mom has been passed due to a robbery and so forth. There was still one more call that I had to make, and that was to my dad, who lives in Missouri. And I think for me, that was probably the hardest phone call I ever had to make, at least in my perspective, because it was my dad. Even my mother and father, after the divorce, were always in good relations when it came to the kids, and they stayed good friends up until the time of her death. Not many people would call each other and wish them, a happy anniversary and happy divorce day or something like that. So, that was just kind of the common bond that mom and dad had at the time. So I remember calling him, and he was in a pretty happy mood and so forth like that. And I asked him, I said, "Are you sitting down?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm fixing to take a nap, actually." And I said, "Well, I'm about to ruin your nap." And so I said, "I got some bad news for you." He's like, "What's the matter?" And by that time, I had already started losing it. And he said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Dad, I don't know how to say this. I really don't." And he's like, "Is it that bad?" And I said, "Yeah, it is." I said, "There was a robbery at Mom's workplace." And he said, "Oh no." And I said, "Dad?" And he just kind of sat there for a minute. And I said, "She's gone." And it was as quiet as you could ever get. You could literally hear a pin drop on both ends of the phone. And that to me was the hardest phone call I had to make. I had, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how it could ever get any easier to deliver a message like that to somebody, especially to the one that helped give you birth. You know. So I told him, and we talked for a little bit, and I said, "Well, I gotta go. I got stuff to do." So, and that's where everything kind of took off. We got through the funeral, and of course it was all over the news, and it was a pretty big deal at the time. And so I was curious. I was kind of laughed a little bit because my mom always wanted to be famous to some extent. And when the city of Irving Police Department came out and said that it was the worst crime that had been in Irving since 1980 so and so. I was like, "Way to go, Mom! You finally made the news." So, yeah, that was the highlight. And so, my sisters and stepdad planned the funeral. With every ounce of intention. I was busy driving back and forth from Dallas, picking up stuff, or having to deal with the cops or the coroner and so forth like that. Um, you know, I had enough on my plate to deal with, and so did they. So, um, within 2 or 3 days, we had the funeral and so forth like that. I did find it curious, though, that after they had picked out the casket and the flowers and so forth like that, and they told me when the wake was, I had already made up my mind that I wasn't going to go down there and see her in the casket. You know, by all means, that to me was not my mom. She was not there. And just like anybody else, I mean, it's hard to see a loved one like that. You know, nobody's you know, uh, nobody has a defense against that. But I kept telling myself I wasn't going to go in there. But I ended up finally going in there at the end. And I waited till everybody was gone. And I remember my dad being there, and he said that he's like, "You want me to come in with you?" And I said, "No, I don't." I said, "I think I want you to stay out here and just let me kind of deal with it for a moment." And I said, "Okay." So I walked in, and I could see the casket out of the corner of my eye, but I didn't want to look that direction. And I walked over towards the flowers and looked at everything, and then I just forced myself to walk over there. And I saw her, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't look at her because that wasn't her. I had seen what the damage had done to her face, so she wasn't there. And the mere fact that if Mom knew that she was wearing a head net or a head net over her head at the time, she probably would have had a fit just coming out of that casket. And I remember just screaming to my dad, and you know, a second later he was right behind me, and he held on to me, and that's probably the longest or most time that I've wanted to hold my dad and never let him go. That was reality for me. Not when we put her in the ground, not, you know, a couple weeks later or so forth like that. That was it. That was the reality check for me. And so we left and moved on and did the funeral thing, and saw a lot of family members and so forth like that. And once we made it through the funeral, we tried to make it on, you know, live and so forth like that. But my stepdad decided to go a different direction, and that to me and to my sister and to him would be, it wasn't all one person's fault.